Picture this, a massive shimmering space station, a perfect sphere of gleaming metal and glass, floating lazily around a dull little star called Nova 12. It's not the kind of place you'd write home about. Honestly, Nova 12 is so unremarkable you'd miss it if it weren't glowing faintly against the black void. But this station? Oh, it's something special. This is the heart of the Galactic Peace Union, a coalition that's been keeping the universe's many species in line, or at least trying to, for a whopping 15,000 years. Think of it as the ultimate intergalactic HOA meeting, where every species shows up to argue about parking spaces, trade routes, and who gets to host the next cosmic barbecue. Now, into this polished, ancient assembly stumbles humanity. Us, the loud, messy newcomers, who've only been part of the club for 40 measly years. To the galaxy, we're the equivalent of that kid who just moved into the neighborhood and immediately starts kicking soccer balls through everyone's windows. We're eager, we're enthusiastic, and we've got all the grace of a bull in a china shop. Leading the charge is our main man, Ambassador Ethan Carver, a tall, broad-shouldered guy with a grin that could charm a black hole and an unhealthy obsession with coffee that's practically a diplomatic incident waiting to happen. Ethan's the kind of guy who walks into a room like he owns it, even if he's holding a steaming mug that's about to ruin someone's day. His dark hair's a little tousled, his suit's just a tad wrinkled, but his eyes, sharp as a laser, always scanning, always planning. He's the human face of Earth's delegation, stationed in a little corner of the Union's headquarters that's officially called the New Voices Annex, but everyone secretly dubs the Loudmouth Lounge. And on this particular day, a day that'll go down in galactic history, he's about to make a splash, literally. Across from Ethan, keeping the peace, or at least trying to, is High Commissioner Laura Vox. She's a being of pure energy, a swirling mass of light that shifts and glows like a living aurora borealis. Her kind don't have faces per se, but the way her colors flicker tells you everything you need to know about her mood. Right now, as Ethan strides into the central meeting chamber, she's a cool blue, calm, composed, and very much done with human shenanigans. Lara's been around for centuries, a stickler for rules, and she's got the patience of a saint crossed with the sternness of a school principal. Ambassador Carver, she says, her voice a melodic hum that resonates through the room, I trust you've prepared your delegation's latest proposal. Always, High Commissioner, Ethan replies, flashing that trademark grin. He takes a sip from his coffee mug, a battered old thing with world's okayest diplomat scrawled on it, and plops down in his seat. The chamber's a marvel, all sleek curves and glowing panels, packed with delegates from across the galaxy. There's the sonorites, bat-like creatures with ears the size of satellite dishes, the olfactors, spindly beings who can smell alive from a light year away, and dozens more, all chattering in a symphony of clicks, hums, and electromagnetic pulses. Hovering nearby, well, more like wobbling, is Undersecretary Milo Gel, Lara's right-hand blob. Milo's a gelatinous life form, a quivering mass of lime-green goo that can shift shape but usually doesn't bother. He's got a sense of humor that's as slippery as he is, and a habit of leaving little puddles wherever he goes. "Hey, Ethan!" Milo calls, his voice bubbling like a pot of soup. "You humans ready to shake things up again?" He tries to slide closer, but one of his pseudopods catches on a chair, and he flops over with a wet splat. The room erupts in laughter, except for Lara, whose light flares briefly into an annoyed orange. "Shake things up? Us?" Ethan says, feigning innocence. "We're just here to make friends." He leans back, mug in hand, and takes another sip. That's when it happens, as he gestures grandly to emphasize his point. Something about humans being team players? His elbow knocks the mug. Hot coffee arcs through the air, a glorious brown cascade, and lands square on an olfactor delegate named Tix. The poor creature shrieks, a high-pitched wail that could shatter glass, and collapses in a twitching heap. Apparently, to an olfactor, the smell of coffee is like a chemical weapon, overwhelming, disorienting, and just plain rude. "Oh crap, sorry, Tix." Ethan jumps up, grabbing a napkin from his pocket and dabbing at the delegate's robes. Tix wheezes, waving a spindly arm in protest, while the rest of the chamber buzzes with a mix of amusement and outrage. Milo, still sprawled on the floor, giggles so hard he starts dissolving into a puddle. Classic human move, he burbles. You guys should come with a warning label. Lara's light shifts to a deep, exasperated red. This is the third incident this week, Ambassador Carver, she says, her tone icy despite the warmth of her glow. First, your delegation's handshake broke a Quilaxian's kills. Then your greeting chant disrupted the Sonorite's echolocation. And now this? Do humans intend to participate seriously, or are you here to turn our station into a comedy show? Ethan straightens, still grinning, and tosses the soggy napkin aside. High Commissioner, I promise we're serious. Coffee's just my secret weapon. It keeps me sharp. You should try it sometime. Might loosen you up a bit. He winks, and Milo lets out a wet snort of laughter, only to accidentally splatter goo on a nearby delegate. The room groans collectively. Lara's light pulses, a silent sigh. I'd rather not voluntarily poison myself, thank you. Let's proceed with the agenda, assuming you can keep that mug under control. Ethan salutes with it, sloshing a little more coffee onto the table, and settles back in his chair. The galaxy's about to learn that this clumsy, coffee-obsessed human is far more than he seems. But that's a tale for the next chapter, folks. For now, the stage is set, the players are in place, and the Galactic Peace Union is in for one wild ride. So, there we were, back in the gleaming halls of the Galactic Peace Union's headquarters, orbiting the forgettable Nova 12. Ambassador Ethan Carver had just turned a routine meeting into a caffeine-soaked disaster, leaving the olfactor delegate Tix twitching on the floor and High Commissioner Lara Vox glowing with the kind of frustration that could power a small starship. Undersecretary Milo Gel, meanwhile, was still picking himself up off the floor, his gelatinous body jiggling with laughter as he wiped goo off a chair. Man, Ethan, Milo bubbled, you humans don't do subtle, do you? Ethan shrugged, sipping what was left of his coffee like nothing had happened. Subtle's overrated, Milo. We're just trying to keep things lively around here. He flashed that big toothy grin of his, the one that said he was either your best buddy or about to accidentally ruin your day. And ruin days he did, because Ethan wasn't one to sit still. That very afternoon, he marched into the Union's resource allocation meeting with a proposal that was bold, brash, and quintessentially human. All right, folks, Ethan said, standing up and slapping a data pad on the table with a thud. Earth's got a little request. We'd like to expand our mining rights in the Gemini sector. It's a gold mine? Well, a lithium mine technically, but you get the gist. Just a smidge more space for us to stretch our legs. He spread his arms wide, like he was measuring a fish he'd caught, and nearly knocked over a Sonorite delegate's water glass in the process. Lara's light flared into a sharp yellow, a color that screamed, "Not this again!" Ambassador Carver, she said, her voice tight. This is the 5th time this month you've asked for more territory. The Gemini sector's a shared resource zone. Your delegation's already got a foothold there. Why do you need more? Because we're growing, Lara, Ethan shot back, leaning forward with that infectious enthusiasm humans are famous for. Earth's population's booming, our tech's advancing, and we need the juice to keep the lights on. Come on, it's just a little patch of space. You won't even miss it. Milo, trying to be helpful, chimed in. I kinda like their energy. It's like a supernova that won't quit. Unfortunately, his excitement got the better of him. He waved a pseudopod for emphasis and slipped, tumbling off his perch with a wet plop that sent a spray of goo across the table. A Quilaxian delegate yelped as the slime hit their delicate quills, snapping one clean off. Oops, Milo muttered, reforming himself into a sheepish blob. Sorry about that. Lara's glow darkened to a stormy purple. This is precisely why we can't keep bending the rules for humans. You're loud, you're messy, and you disrupt everything. Ethan just chuckled, unfazed. Disrupt? Nah, we're just adding some flavor to the mix. You guys could use a little chaos. Keeps the blood pumping. Or, the energy flowing, I guess. He winked at Lara, who didn't dignify that with a response. The real chaos, though, hit later that night at the Union's monthly diplomatic mixer. Ethan decided it was the perfect chance to show off some human culture, specifically karaoke. He dragged his team, including his bright-eyed assistant Nora Bright, into the rec hall with a portable speaker and a playlist longer than a starship's maintenance log. Nora, a petite woman with a mop of curly hair and a can-do attitude, set up the mic while Ethan rallied the troops. "Come on, team, let's give 'em Sweet Nova Dreams, it's a classic." The humans launched into the song, belting out lyrics with gusto. Ethan's baritone was off-key but enthusiastic. Nora's soprano was surprisingly decent, and the rest of the crew sounded like a pack of howling dogs. It was loud, it was rowdy, and it was human. The other delegates watched in a mix of fascination and horror until the sonarites started freaking out. Their oversized ears twitched violently as the sound waves clashed with their echolocation, sending them into a flapping, screeching frenzy. "Stop it!" one sonorite wailed, clutching their head. "You're scrambling our senses." Ethan paused mid-chorus, mic still in hand. "Whoa, easy there, buddy. It's just a song. Helps us unwind," he grinned, clearly thinking this was all a big laugh. Nora, ever the peacemaker, rushed over with an apology. "We didn't mean to upset you. Here, take this. It's a peace offering." She handed the lead sonorite a Bluetooth speaker, figuring it'd be a nice gesture. Big mistake. The device's low hum triggered an allergic reaction in the sonorite's sensitive skin, and they broke out in hives the size of golf balls. The room exploded into chaos. Delegates shouted over each other, Milo rolled around, laughing so hard he turned into a puddle, and Laura stormed in, her light blazing like a supernova. "What is going on here?" she demanded. Ethan, still holding the mic, shrugged. "Just a little cultural exchange. No harm done, right?" He glanced at the hive-covered sonorites and winced. "Okay, maybe a little harm." Nora, red-faced, tried to smooth things over. "I'm so sorry, High Commissioner. I thought the speaker would be cool. I didn't know they'd react like that." She fumbled with the device, accidentally cranking the volume, and a deafening blast of static filled the hall. The sonorites shrieked louder, Milo's puddle vibrated like a jello mold in an earthquake, and even Lara's composure cracked as her light flickered wildly. "Turn it off!" she yelled, voice booming over the noise. Ethan finally yanked the plug, and silence fell, well, except for Milo's gurgling giggles. "You humans," Lara said, regaining her cool blue glow, "are a walking disaster. Karaoke? Speakers? Do you ever think before you act?" Ethan leaned on the mic stand, casual as ever. "Sure we do. We thought, hey, let's have some fun. Life's too short to be all serious, Lara. You should try singing sometime. Might loosen up that glow of yours." Milo, now a wobbly sphere again, snorted. "I'd pay to see that. Lara belting out a tune, priceless." Lara shot him a glare that could melt steel, and he shrank back into a quivering lump. "Enough," she snapped. "This meeting is adjourned. Ambassador Carver, get your team under control before you start a war over a bad song." She turned and floated out, leaving Ethan chuckling and Nora muttering apologies to anyone who'd listen. As the crowd dispersed, Ethan clapped Nora on the shoulder. "Don't sweat it, kid. They'll get over it. Besides, we've got bigger fish to fry." He took a sip from a fresh mug of coffee. Where'd he even get that? And stared out the viewport, a glint in his eye. The galaxy thought humans were just noisy troublemakers, but oh, they had no idea what was coming. This was just the warm-up act, folks, and the real show was about to begin. So, picture the scene. The Galactic Peace Union's headquarters is still buzzing from the karaoke fiasco. The sonarites are nursing their hives, High Commissioner Lara Vox is probably somewhere meditating to calm her glowing nerves, and Undersecretary Milo Gel is mopping up his own gooey mess in the rec hall. Meanwhile, Ambassador Ethan Carver is strolling through the station's sleek corridors, mug of coffee in hand, looking like he doesn't have a care in the universe. But here's the thing, folks. Ethan's not just some bumbling human with a knack for spilling drinks and singing off-key. Oh no. He's been playing a game nobody else even knew was on the board. It's late, well, as late as it gets in a place where time's just a suggestion, and Ethan's holed up in the human delegation's cramped office in the loudmouth lounge. His assistant, Nora Bright, is there too, hunched over a datapad, her curls falling into her eyes as she mutters about resource quotas. The room's a mess, papers strewn across the desk, a coffee maker gurgling in the corner, and a faint hum from the station's systems vibrating through the walls. Ethan's leaning back in his chair, feet up, sipping his brew like he's on vacation. "Nora," he says, casual as can be, "how's that mining proposal coming?" Nora looks up, exasperated. It's fine, sir, but I still don't get why we're pushing so hard for Gemini. The Union's never going to give us more space. They think we're too loud already. She gestures vaguely at the speaker from last night's disaster, now sitting in a corner like a guilty puppy. Ethan chuckles, that sly grin creeping across his face. Oh, they'll give it to us. They just don't know it yet. Keep the pressure on. Trust me. That's when the door hisses open, and in float Lara and Milo, unannounced and unexpected. Lara's light is a cool, suspicious teal, and Milo's wobbling like he's nervous, or maybe just excited to see Ethan again. Ambassador Carver, Lara says, her voice cutting through the room like a laser. We need to talk. Ethan sits up, swinging his feet off the desk, but he doesn't lose that easygoing vibe. Hey, Lara, Milo, pull up whatever you guys sit on. Coffee? No, Lara snaps, her glow flickering. We're not here for your voluntary toxins. We've received reports, credible ones, that your delegation's been moving personnel and equipment through the station service tunnels, without authorization. Care to explain? Milo bobs closer, his gooey form rippling. Yeah, man, what's up? You got a secret army stashed somewhere? 'Cause that'd be wild. Ethan's grin doesn't falter, but his eyes sharpen. Just a little. Secret army? Nah, that's a bit dramatic. Just a few friends helping out with a side project, nothing to worry about. He takes a slow sip of coffee, letting the silence stretch, and Nora glances between him and the visitors, clearly out of the loop. Lara's light shifts to a darker shade, almost black with doubt. A side project? Involving armed humans skulking around restricted areas? That sounds like a breach of protocol, Carver. But before Ethan can answer, Nora, bless her eager heart, decides to pitch in. Oh, it's probably nothing. The ambassador's just been tinkering with the coffee maker again. It's been acting up, and she hops up, grabs a wrench, and starts fiddling with the machine in the corner. Bad move. The thing lets out a groan, then a screech, and suddenly the station's emergency alarm blares to life. Red lights flashing, sirens wailing. The works. Nora yelps, dropping the wrench, and Milo panics, melting into a frantic puddle. We're under attack, he shrieks, sloshing around the floor. I knew it, secret army. Calm down, Milo, Ethan shouts over the noise, leaping to his feet. He yanks a panel off the wall, punches in a code, and the alarm cuts off as fast as it started. The room falls silent except for Milo's gurgling whimpers and Nora's muttered, oh no, oh no, oh no. Laura's glow is now a blazing crimson, and she's practically vibrating with fury. What was that? She demands, each word a dagger. Ethan dusts off his hands, casual as ever. That? Just Nora being Nora. She's got a knack for breaking things at the worst possible time. He shoots her a look, half amused, half warning, and she shrinks back, mouthing, sorry, sir. But then he turns to Lara, and that grin turns downright mischievous. Since you're here, though, I'll let you in on a little something. That side project? It's about Shadow Nexus. Lara's light freezes, and Milo reforms into a wobbly sphere, gaping. Shadow Nexus? He squeaks. The smuggling ring? The ones trafficking tech and critters across the galaxy? Ethan nods, leaning against the desk. Yep, been tracking them for months. Those friends you saw? My special ops team. We've been using the tunnels to keep tabs on their shipments. Quietly, of course. Didn't want to spook the Union till we had proof. Lara's glow dims, processing this. You've been conducting an unauthorized investigation? Under our noses? Ethan shrugs. Unauthorized is a strong word. The Union Charter gives us leeway to protect our interests. And yours. Shadow Nexus isn't just our problem. They're everybody's. And guess what? That coffee spill on Tix last week? Not an accident. He's been on their payroll, and I needed him distracted while we tagged his comms. Milo's goo ripples with shock. No way, Tix? That twitchy little sniffer? I thought he just hated your coffee. Ethan laughs, a low rumbling sound. Oh, he does, but he hates getting caught more. We've got eyes on 12 distribution hubs, 4 money men and a fleet ready to move, all thanks to a little human chaos. Lara steps, or floats, closer. Her light now a wary gold. Why keep this from us? The Union has a security directorate for this sort of thing. Ethan's grin fades just a touch, and he sets his mug down. Because your directorate's been sitting on its hands, or tentacles, for years. Shadow Nexus has moles everywhere, Lara. We couldn't risk tipping them off. So we played dumb, spilled coffee, sang karaoke, made a mess, kept them looking at the clown show while we set the trap. Nora, still clutching the wrench, pipes up. Wait, sir, you mean all that stuff, the singing, the speakers, was on purpose? Ethan winks at her. Not all of it. You're just a natural disaster, kid. But yeah, most of it. Best way to hide a plan is behind a little noise. Milo lets out a wet, incredulous laugh. Dude, that's insane. You're like a genius and a lunatic rolled into one. Lara's not laughing, though. Her light pulses, calculating. If this is true, Carver, you've put the entire station at risk. What if they strike back? Ethan's eyes gleam, and he picks up his mug again, taking a long, deliberate sip. Oh, they will. And when they do, we'll be ready. That alarm Nora just set off? Perfect timing. Shadow Nexus is about to make their move, and we've got the welcome party all lined up. He taps his ear, activating a hidden comms device none of them had noticed. Carver to Vigilant, status check. A crisp voice crackles back. All units in position, sir. Targets acquired, awaiting your go. Ethan nods, then looks at Lara and Milo, his grin back in full force. Stick around, you two. The galaxy's about to see what humans can do when we stop playing nice. And Nora, put that wrench down before you blow us all up. As Lara's light flickers with reluctant awe, and Milo quivers with excitement, one thing's clear. The Union's in for a wake-up call. Ethan's not just a coffee-spilling clown. He's a predator with a plan, and the trap's about to snap shut. So there we were, folks, the Galactic Peace Union's shiny spherical station orbiting Nova 12, humming along like nothing was wrong. Except everything was about to go sideways. Ambassador Ethan Carver had just dropped a bombshell on High Commissioner Laura Vox and Undersecretary Milo Gell. He'd been running a secret op against Shadow Nexus, a smuggling ring that'd been dodging the Union's radar for years. Nora Bright, his flustered assistant, stood in the corner of their cluttered office, still clutching that wrench like it was her last line of defense after accidentally setting off the station's alarm. Lila's light was a tense gold. Milo was a quivering blob. And Ethan? He was sipping his coffee, cool as a cucumber, like he'd planned this whole mess. And he had. Because right then, as if on cue, the real alarm kicked in. Not Nora's coffee maker mishap, but the full-on red flag "we're under attack" klaxon. The walls pulsed with crimson lights and a robotic voice blared over the speakers. Security breach detected. Unidentified vessels approaching station. Weapon signatures active. All personnel to emergency stations. Lara's glow flared to a blinding white. What in the void is this, Carver? She shouted, her voice shaking the room. Milo predictably freaked out, splattering into a puddle and wailing, "We're gonna die! I knew it!" Ethan set his mug down, finally, and cracked his knuckles. Relax, folks. This is Shadow Nexus making their move, just like I figured. They got wind we were onto him, and now they're here to shut us up. Bad call on their part. He tapped his earpiece again. Carver to Vigilant, tactical situation Bravo, deploy countermeasures, and let's give him a warm human welcome. Nora blinked at him, wide-eyed. Sir, you knew they'd attack? Ethan grinned, that wolfish glint in his eye. Hoped they would, kid. Makes it easier to nail 'em. Lara floated forward, her light flickering with disbelief. How did they breach our defenses? The grid's impenetrable. Ethan shrugged. Not if they've got inside help, like Tix and a few others we've been tracking. Don't worry, though. We've got this. Before Lara could argue, the station's central holodeck patch flickered to life, showing 15 patchwork ships closing in fast. They were ugly suckers, cobbled together from stolen tech, bristling with cannons, the kind of rigs smugglers love because they're cheap and mean. Milo, reforming into a wobbly sphere, peeked at the display. 15! We're toast! I'm too young to be a smear on the wall. He flailed a pseudopod, accidentally smacking Nora, who yelped and dropped the wrench, again. Ethan ignored the chaos, his voice steady. Vigilant, status. The comms crackled. 8 ships, dropping out of FTL now, sir, positioning between hostiles and station, ready on your mark. Ethan nodded. Mark. The holo display lit up as 8 sleek, unmistakably human vessels materialized like ghosts, sliding into formation with precision that made your jaw drop. They were lean, fast, and armed to the teeth, nothing like the clunky Union ships. Lara's light dimmed, stunned. You had a fleet standing by this whole time? Ethan leaned against the desk, casual as ever. Yep. Meet the 8th Rapid Response Squadron, been parked in the shadows waiting for these jokers to show their hand. The battle kicked off like a fireworks show on steroids. The human ships moved like a pack of wolves, darting, weaving, herding the Shadow Nexus fleet into a tight knot. Laser fire streaked across the void, but the humans didn't just slug it out. They outsmarted their prey. One enemy ship tried to break away, only to get snagged by a human frigate launching what looked like metal Tix boarding pods that latched onto its hull. Marines, Ethan explained, nodding at the display. Old Earth term. They're real good at getting up close and personal. Milo, still a nervous wreck, decided to help. I'll distract him, he declared, oozing toward a control panel. I'll fake a surrender. Buy us time. Before anyone could stop him, he slithered into a vent, aiming to broadcast a message. Big mistake. He got stuck halfway, his goo clogging the tube, and his muffled yells echoed through the station. Help! I'm not a hero! Get me out of here! Nora groaned, burying her face in her hands. Why do I work here? Laura, ignoring Milo's plight, turned on Ethan. This is madness. You've turned our station into a war zone. Ethan didn't flinch. Nah, we're cleaning up a mess you ignored. Shadow Nexus has been running wild, trafficking tech, critters, even people. We've got the proof, and now we've got 'em in the open. You're welcome. He pointed at the holo display as the human ships tightened the noose. One by one, the enemy vessels faltered. Some disabled, some boarded, all outmatched. The lead Shadow Nexus ship made a desperate run for it, engines flaring. A human cruiser cut it off, slamming it with a precision strike that knocked out its weapons. Boarding pods hit its flank, and within minutes the comms crackled again. Hostile command ship secured, sir. Minimal casualties. Extracting data now. Ethan clapped his hands. That's my crew! Told you we had this! Laura's light softened to a reluctant silver. How long have you been planning this? Ethan picked up his mug, taking a victory sip. Months. Started when I accidentally spilled coffee on Tix. Kept him distracted with noise. Karaoke, proposals, Nora's disasters. While we tracked their every move. Leaked just enough to bait him here. Easier to catch him red-handed than argue in a meeting. Milo, still stuck, wailed from the vent. Somebody help me, I'm melting! Nora sighed, grabbing a broom. I'll get him, sir. She poked at the vent, and Milo oozed out with a squelch, landing in a heap. I hate my life, he muttered, reforming into a sulky blob. Ethan laughed, a deep, genuine sound. You did great, Milo. Best distraction ever. The holo display showed the last enemy ship powering down, surrounded by human vessels. The station's defenses, finally online, stood ready, but they weren't needed. The fight was over almost as fast as it started. Lara stared at Ethan, her glow settling into a calm blue. You anticipated them into attacking. Why not warn us? Ethan's grin faded, just a bit, because we couldn't trust everyone. Shadow Nexus had claws in your ranks. We had to move quiet, strike hard, saved your station and the Union while we were at it. He tapped his earpiece. Vigilant. Stand by for Union handover. We're done here. The comms replied, Aye, sir. All hostiles contained, ready for cleanup. Ethan turned to Lara, holding out his mug like a toast. See? Humans don't just spill coffee. We clean up messes too. Now, how about we talk next steps over a fresh brew? As Milo whimpered on the floor and Nora dragged the broom away, the galaxy got its first real taste of what humans could do. Ethan wasn't just a loudmouth with a mug, he was a hunter, who'd played the fool till the trap snapped shut. And the show wasn't over yet, folks. There was still some reckoning to come. So there we were, folks. The dust had settled around the Galactic Peace Union station orbiting Nova 12. The Shadow Nexus fleet was toast, their ships locked down by Ethan Carver's slick human squadron, and the station's holodisplay was finally quiet, showing nothing but a bunch of captured smugglers and some very confused Union delegates. Ambassador Ethan Carver stood in the middle of it all, mug of coffee in hand, looking like he'd just won a bar bet instead of a galactic showdown. High Commissioner Lara Vox floated nearby, her light a steady blue now, calm, maybe even impressed. Undersecretary Milo Gel was still a gooey mess on the floor, moaning about his vent fiasco, while Nora Bright leaned on her broom, catching her breath after fishing him out. The station's emergency lights flicked off, and the regular hum of life returned, well, as regular as it gets with humans around. Lara turned to Ethan, her voice softer than usual. "Ambassador Carver, I'll admit it. You saved us. Shadow Nexus could have crippled this station and the Union if you hadn't acted, but I still don't understand why you kept it secret." Ethan took a sip of coffee, that easy grin back on his face. "Simple, Lara. Trust's a two-way street, and we weren't sure who was driving on your side. Had to play it safe till we knew we could count on you." Milo, reforming into a wobbly blob, piped up, "Yeah, but dude, you turned our place into a battlefield. I thought I was going to be a pancake." Ethan chuckled. "You held up fine, Milo. That vent stunt, pure gold, kept 'em guessing." Milo grumbled, "Yeah, guessing how to scrape me out of there," but there was a hint of pride in his jiggle. Nora smirked, nudging him with the broom. "You're a hero, Milo." A sticky one, but still. Lara's light pulsed, thoughtful. "Your methods are unorthodox, Carver, reckless even, but the results speak for themselves. Shadow Nexus is finished, thanks to you." Ethan raised his mug in a mock toast. "Hey, we're just here to help. No point in having neighbors if you can't lend a hand or a fleet when they need it." He winked, and for once Lara didn't snap back. Maybe she was warming up to him, maybe. The next day the Union called an emergency assembly in the main chamber, a huge curved room packed with delegates from every corner of the galaxy. The Sonarites were there, still grumbling about karaoke but looking less hive-ridden. The olfactors, including a sheepish Tix, kept their distance, probably still traumatized by Ethan's coffee spill. Lara took the podium, her glow steady and commanding. "Colleagues," she began, "yesterday we faced a threat that could have undone us. Shadow Nexus exploited our weaknesses, our complacency. But Earth's delegation, led by Ambassador Carver, acted when we didn't. They exposed the rot and cut it out. For that, we owe them our thanks." The room buzzed. Clicks, hums, and a few reluctant claps. Ethan stood up, waving casually. "Aw, shucks, Lara. You're making me blush. We just did what needed doing, no biggie." But it was a biggie, and everyone knew it. Lara's light flickered, almost like a smile. "Regardless, the Union's stronger now. We're revising our security protocols, rooting out corruption, all because of your chaotic ingenuity. As a gesture, we're moving your delegation from the New Voices Annex to a central suite. You've earned it." Ethan grinned wide. "Central suite, huh? Does it come with a coffee maker?" Milo, floating nearby, snorted. "Only if Nora doesn't break it." Nora shot him a playful glare. "Watch it, Jello boy, or I'll sweep you back into that vent." The room laughed, a real warm sound that cut through the usual stiffness. Even the Sonarites joined in, their screeches softening to chuckles. Later that night, Ethan threw a little victory party in the human office, soon to be vacated for fancier digs. He dragged in a table, set up a coffee station, and invited Lara and Milo to join. "Come on," he said, pouring a fresh cup. "Let's bury the hatchet over some brew. No spills this time, promise." Lara hesitated, her light a cautious green, but she floated over. "I'll observe, not consume. Your toxins still baffle me." Milo, though, was all in. "Give me some, I want to see what the fuss is about." Ethan handed him a tiny cup, and Milo slurped it down, only to wobble violently and splatter half his body across the wall. "Whoa, that's spicy," he yelped, reforming with a goofy grin. "I like it." Ethan laughed, clapping him on the blob. "See? Told you it's a game changer. Nora, brew another pot. We've got a convert." Nora rolled her eyes, but got to work, while Lara watched, her glow softening to a warm amber. "You humans are strange," she said. "Predators who fight like warriors, yet celebrate like friends. Why not just take power when you could?" Ethan leaned back, sipping his coffee. "Because that's not us, Lara. We're tough when we have to be, but we'd rather build than break. A galaxy where everyone's got a seat at the table. That's the goal. Coffee's optional." Lara's light pulsed, intrigued. "A noble idea. Naive, perhaps, but noble," Ethan shrugged. "Maybe, but it's worked for us so far. Stick with us and we'll show you how it's done." He raised his mug, and Milo mimicked him with his own, sloshing coffee everywhere. "To epic neighbors!" Milo cheered. And even Laura let out a melodic a galactic toast to a new understanding. As the party wound down, the galaxy settled into a new groove. The Union wasn't just a club of old-timers anymore. Humans had shaken it up, proved their worth, and earned a spot at the heart of it all. Ethan's crew wasn't just the loudmouths in the corner. They were the ones you called when trouble knocked. And the lesson? Strength's great, but it's teamwork that keeps the stars spinning. Humans could hunt, sure, but they'd rather share a coffee and a laugh. That's the real win, folks. A universe a little brighter, a little friendlier, one mug at a time. And that's it, folks. Humans proving we're more than just loudmouths with a caffeine fix. What do you think? Are we the galaxy's best neighbors or its sneakiest predators? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. If you loved this ride, smash that like button, hit subscribe to SciFi Space, and ring the bell so you never miss a story.